if you put that on mute, please.
Trying
It's telling
to,
us
but it's
we're
does not,
live already.
volume doesn't want to go down. Okay.
Hi, everybody. We're just getting started with our Africa activation. So, technology and all of that stuff. So if you just bear with us, yeah, we're just going to kick off very soon, like in a few seconds. And yeah, there we go. Right. And it is bang 5 o'clock New Zealand time on the 20th of July in the year 2024. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Africa activation here on Ananda Rose. And I have with me Emma from Being Magic and Craig Lyle, our Craig Lyle healer, energy healer. How are you? Hello, Craig. How are you going?
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, doing really well. Thank you very much.
That's good. Nice to have you on board and very welcome to you. Emma, how are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you, Rose.
Well, that's good to hear. How are you feeling today?
Yeah, it's been a bit wild. Energies are feeling a little bit wild, but it's all good.
Yeah, yeah. And the wind in Auckland is quite wild at the moment too, everybody. If you're in Auckland, welcome. And you are experiencing the wind with us. So every one of you that's joining us right now, thank you so much for joining us and welcome. And you know what I want to say at the start of is, if you feel like it, please tell us where in the world you are joining us from. Not because we're taking any statistics, but we just like to know who the people are that are feeling so strongly called to hold space in this activation and bringing in this energy that lights up Africa. And we'll explain more what that means later on. But yeah, do tell us where you are in the world. Right. Are we all good with that, friends? We're good. Now, I just forgot to turn my light on here. And you know how it gets dark, and I'm a dark-skinned person from Africa. So, just going to turn the light on. Right. There we go. Much better. Okay, because as we carry on, it's going to get darker. And you know what the weather's looking like right now. And then you won't be able to see me. Okay. I took a shot at mice. I made a joke about myself, all right? So nothing, nothing intended. That's not where it should be. Right, friends. So what I haven't told you about is this, that not only do we have Craig Lyle and Emma from Being Magic that are the activators with me here today, we also have an activator that is on the ground there in South Africa. Yes, please send lots of love and energy to Sonia. She is holding space. Now, there's lots of reasons why we've got Sonia not on the ground and not in the YouTube live, but we can talk about that another time. But Sonia is holding space. And by the way, Sonia has got some dragon people that she's working with, and they're pretty awesome. Elementals, like fairies as well. And so really interesting, really, really good. And yeah, so that's what we can tell you about that. I'm sorry if I have to keep referring to my notes because I have to keep on track, because anybody that watches the channel, I talk a lot and I can go off on a tangent and then we'll forget about what we actually intended to do here. So trying to keep myself on track. Right. So let's talk about preparation. Craig, is there anything you wanted to say? Because you almost looked like you were going to say something.
No, I was just laughing at you. It's all good.
Okay, cool. Yes, so when we put out our video earlier this week, we were encouraging you to get prepared for this activation and to light up Africa. And so I hope that in getting prepared, even if you haven't done anything through the week, that you've taken time to get your water ready, that you've got your crystals, that you've, that you're in a nice quiet space where you can be barefoot and you can be in the mode and be in tune and all of that will bring you into that space. So before I go on to what lighting up Africa is all about, Craig and Emma, is there anything you want to add in terms of preparation for anybody that's watching?
No, I just say just to be in a nice, calm, centered space, and that everybody's welcome to just follow along as we go. But yeah, it's nice to just be with yourself. I think that's the word I'm looking for. Just with
Yeah.
yourself and very present.
Yes. And breathe, 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 right?
Mm.
Yeah, and the other thing, just from our side, I know we're looking at doing Africa, and the three of us happen to come from there. But I think the important thing for us all, doesn't matter where we're from, is that we are all one. You know, it's not about Africa or where you're from or who we are, anything else. It's actually about the entire planet and all of us on this earth. We're just starting at that point, but we're all part of it. We can't heal one part of the world without healing the whole world. So we're all in this together. We're all in this thing together, irrespective of Africa, wherever we're from. We all need to do our part in embracing each other, sending out the unconditional love that brings about the change in Africa, and that light then shines everywhere else in one kind of place at a time. We just keep turning the light on, you know, until there's light everywhere and for everybody.
Exactly. I like that you said that, Craig, because I feel like, you know, yes, we are from Africa. We've lived there. We are, in particular, all three of us are from South Africa. We are doing Africa because Africa, if you didn't know this, is said to be the place where civilization or humanities was seeded. And so that is why we're doing Africa first. So there will be other places that we have been guided to do activations, and that will come up in the months to follow. In fact, we will let you know as we go along. But we started with Africa because Africa is said to be the seat of civilization, where the beginnings of civilization, where humanity was born. And so that is why we do Africa. So I feel like this is the time where we would welcome you onto the channel with some light language. And so it's just very important for us to say welcome into our space to all of you that are out there. We are one, as you heard. And so I will be just doing some light language, and then we proceed from there after we do that welcoming of the light language. So I'll just put myself on musician's mode so that if we have any toning, that it comes out in the right way. So let's take a moment, everybody. Emma, do you want to sort of breathe us, guide us in any way to be in space, or?
Yeah,
Sure.
I can do that, Rose. Okay, so if you'd like to, you can close your eyes. And I'm just going to ask for Archangel Metatron just to bring down the light from the great central sun for everybody who is watching this with us or who may watch it later. And obviously for Rose and Craig. And just as that light comes down, just allow it to really just seep into the walls, floors, doors, windows of the space that you are in, sealing you in pure golden light from the sun and protecting the space. I'm also going to ask Archangel Metatron and the dragons to please just protect our technology as we work today, keeping us all connected in the space and just allowing us to communicate what we need to communicate, and for allowing that to be interpreted, understood, and taken on board in the way it is intended, which is with the greatest of love for our whole planet and for one another. And I'm just going to invite us just to get grounded, because we do live on this beautiful planet, and it is important that we connect to her. When we connect to her, we can feel her, be a part of her, communicate with her, and further help her to grow into this beautiful space that we are all moving into. So the beautiful Auburn dragon is with us now. He is a very, very, very deep red. And he is sitting down in the center of Gaia, So I'm going to invite everybody to just feel from the soles of their feet, 2 beautiful golden roots growing out from the bottom of their feet, down, down, down through the Earth Star chakra, down, down, down into the center of Mother Gaia, where they will meet the beautiful Oberon. He has come into the space today to anchor us in and to allow us to feel very, very centered, safe, secure. And just knowing that we do really have everything that we need to be grounded, safe, and secure. The fact that we think we don't have things is just an illusion. But we already have everything that we need to make the changes on this planet and for humanity as a species, and obviously rippling out into the cosmos. So just allow Oberon to just receive those beautiful golden roots. And he's almost going to be like holding our roots, like we're all balloons. So those are all the balloon strings, and he is just going to hold the space for us as we work here today. And he is sending so much love out to all of us. And just feeling that beautiful earth energy coming back up your roots, you may sense them lighting up, see them lighting up, and hitting the bottom of your feet. You may feel a tingling, a heaviness in the feet, a warmth. And we are now just anchored and divinely protected as we move into this activation today. Giving much thanks to Archangel Metatron, the dragons protecting us, and to the mighty Oberon, and of course to our beautiful Mother Gaia. Thank you, Rose.
Thank you, Em. That was beautiful. I'm just reminded that right now, as we here in Auckland, we have a sunset. Many parts of Africa are waking up to a sunrise. Amore heta varana hai. Paramahaina tu me. Koranati farana hua lelela. Helene. Helen moaya makifa. Korane, welcome, welcome, you're so welcome. Welcome. Kira makato to faranahai to faranahai. Ichabarakoto to mahai to mahai. Welcome this day. Activators, generators, yamakoto faranahai to foronakoto fahite. Way shows that you have come because you feel guided and you feel like you need to be here because Africa might have a connection in your bloodline somewhere. We are one. And this day, your presence here confirms that. Confirms that you have reached a place in your life where you can see and feel your ancestors, your genealogy, everything, that you are connected, not just where you are, where you take abode, but everywhere else on this planet. There is an aspect of you in every part of the galaxy. There is an aspect of you in all star systems. And then there is an aspect of you here in Africa, there in Europe, here in the South Pacific. Welcome, welcome. Thank you, everyone. Very welcome here. We will, our plan for today is Emma will be leading us into a mindfulness practice very shortly. And then Craig, she will hand over to Craig and he will bring in all the energies and the guides that he's working with. Emma's also going to be having some guides come through with her. And then I will do my part of the light language for Africa first. And then once we've done that, we will work with our guides for South Africa. We will be doing that, and I'll explain that when we get to that. And then through this process, we will interact as we go interchangeably. Any downloads we get, we will be sharing that with you. Any thoughts that might come through that we feel is for the complex, for the collective, we will share that, okay? And we will go from there. And then we will seal everything in with our goodbye message, and we will be introducing to us a guide that is coming in, that I've been tuning in for this guide for a while. And so that's what I will need to be talking about. And I will show you a picture of this guide. This is the Guardian of Africa. And the Guardian of Africa comes in a way that is a little bit different from what we might have read, or the little that we have read for this Guardian of Africa. So today I will start first, before Emma starts the mindfulness practice. And as we are getting ready, I just want to make sure that all of you are in the space of you're ready and understanding why we're doing this activation or lighting up Africa. Now, Africa has got lights. Africa's most natural light is the sun. And if you've ever seen an African sunset, you'll know there's nothing quite like it. There is nothing quite like an African sunset. I've been in a few parts of the world, and I can hold my hand up, both hands, and say there's nothing quite like an African sunset. Okay, right. And you can tell that Emma's smiling and Craig's smiling because they're agreeing. It's true. So Africa's got its own light. But the lighting up of Africa that we're doing today is to light up the communities, to light up the collective that is in Africa, for them to come into the space and understand who they truly are. For many are under the misconceptions of things, of lack, of what? Poverty consciousness, all of those things. And so today we have been asked to bring in these lights that will light up the communities of Africa, that everyone will start to see who they truly are, that oneness will prevail in Africa, because that's one thing that does not seem to really come forth in the energy of the people in Africa, the oneness, okay? And yet it is such an amazing continent. It is such an amazing place to be, okay? So, Emma, you good there? Is everything all right? The wind blowing you away or anything? You good?
Oh, good, Rose. Yeah.
Okay. I just saw you looking that way, and I thought I'd better check in with you, because I know that it's very windy where you are, and your little cabin was shaking a little bit earlier, so I had to check. So sorry, everyone. That is why we're doing this. Now, we felt called to do this. That doesn't mean we are the only ones who are going to do this, but we, in our capacity, in fulfilling our life's purpose and our, very importantly, soul's purpose in this time and space on the planet, I felt called to do this activation. So this is why we're doing this activation, and there will be more coming through in the future for wherever else we are led to do activations. So I needed to say that. And when I got that we had to do activations, I asked where first, and Africa was the first place that came up. And so there we are. And why we do this? Why do we do South Africa? South Africa is the solar plexus of the planet. And if you are South African, or if you've been to South Africa, imagine the function of the solar plexus in our bodies, right? That solar plexus chakra in our bodies. It is the seat of our empowerment. It is the thing that gives us confidence. And if you know anything about South Africa and the energies that are there, then you may be able to answer that question. Do you think that the solar plexus of the planet is in its place of balance and empowerment? For me, it's a no. I don't think that. I think it's not. I think it's being kept in a way that implies that it's being kept in captivity. People are being kept separate from each other in various ways. And so here we are. This is why we bring South Africa into it. Okay, I've said a lot. Craig, you want to add something to it?
No, at this stage, Rose, I think we'll let Emma go into the mindfulness, and then I've got a few things to say, but I'll say that a bit later.
Cool, wonderful. Okay, Emma, you go.
Thank you, Rose. So I'm just inviting everybody to just take in some deep belly breaths, and I am going to ask you to just breathe in the frequency of 528 hertz, which is the color and the frequency of the solar plexus chakra. It is also the love frequency. 528 hertz is known for being a healer of DNA and a beautiful space to bring in love. So just continuing to do your deep belly breathing. And when you are finished, you can just focus your awareness on your heart. And if it's easier to focus on your heart by placing your hands on your heart, you can do that. And just slowly starting to take your awareness into your heart. And you will notice that now you can actually breathe in and out through your heart. And what we are doing here is we are expanding our heart energy with every in-breath into our own being so we can find the love for ourselves. And with every exhale, we are exhaling all that beautiful love out from our hearts, first of all into our energy body. And with each time we exhale, more and more of it goes out until it actually starts flowing out into and to connect with the beautiful love energy that exists all around us. Because the energy that exists all around us is part of the all that is, the source, the great spirit. So just to settle into this beautiful heart space. And as we do, the confidence dragon comes in. He is a beautiful golden color. He is quite majestic. He is golden yellow, and he also looks very much like a lion. And I'm reminded of the fact that lions occur only in Africa. But also his name, confidence, that links very much to the solar plexus, to our power centers within ourselves, and to the power center within the planet. And along with him comes the Avebury matriarch. She is one of the great healers. And the beauty of her is that she works with healing ancestral and karmic lineages and traumas. And we know that with everything that's gone on this planet over the eons, it's really, really important to actually heal those ancestral lines. There is a lot of damage that's been done by certain agendas and things that have been carried through, and a lot of it isn't even true. And Avebury matriarch has come in. She is a beautiful, beautiful golden, also a golden white color. And she carries a very ancient shamanic energy, and she is closely linked to Stonehenge. In fact, I believe that's where you can sometimes find her. But she is really, really good at inviting us to connect with an area of land and just be still and ask for her guidance as to how we can help with the land that feels so sacred to us and that we are really wanting to send this beautiful healing to. And throughout this, just inviting everybody to remain in this beautiful heart-centered space of pure love, as this is really what will bring us all into oneness on planet Earth. Thank you. Over to you, Craig.
So they may have been so relaxed there that it took me a little while to come back. So just interestingly, today something came up on my page. My main guide is a Native American, and I have an Aboriginal guide, which I think I mentioned previously as well. But my main guardian angel is a Native American. And in Africa, of course, there are also native people. And an interesting thing just came up today from a chief Red Eagle. He's from 1870, from 1780 to 1824 he died, and he wrote these words: Angry people want you to see how powerful they are. Loving people want you to see how powerful you are. And it's just such a beautiful, I read those words, just such a beautiful thing for someone to say, because there's just so much anger in the world at the moment with all the stuff we've got going on with wars and what have you. And the interesting part to this story, and I'm talking a little bit about America now, it doesn't matter, but it applies to everywhere in the world. I'm just giving this story because, as I say, my guy's Native American, but it applies to everywhere, how things have changed. And in the time in 1780, when this guy was around and born, of course, the Europeans were coming into his country and invading his country and taking over their land and bringing in diseases and at war with them. And there was crime and murders and rapes and all sorts of things. And here we are, 300 and something years later, and the American people are now complaining that they have an invasion, that people are coming into their country and bringing in crime and drugs and what have you. And it's the thing when I read this, and I read the story about this guy, and all you want to do is protect his land in Gaia, as we spoke about. And I thought to myself, man, karma's a bitch. Because those people, the circles come around, and they've got all these things to complain about you coming into our land and taking over our way of life and bringing in your way of life, which is drugs and guns and terrorism, this and that. And that's not great. And you can see that those Native Americans from that time, that's exactly how they saw the Europeans or people that were coming in there, because they came in with a completely different mindset to them, not looking after the land, just wanting to, chop down the trees, plant crops, dig in the ground to bring out this, rape and pillage, for want of a better word. And Africa is a continent that's happened on a lot. We all know the story of the blood diamonds. I've seen the movie and all those kind of things. And us coming from Africa, it's a beautiful, beautiful continent, from right up in the north, desert, really dry. And then right down, coming down to, obviously the equator and whatever, really lush and jungles and nature, the silverback gorillas. And it's just, you spoke about it, Emma, lions and all sorts of things that you don't really get anywhere else. Africa is just, it's a beautiful continent. But it's kind of a story of us as humans in our history of how we rape and pillage things, in a sense. That's not talking about ourselves personally, but just generally. And this is what this change, this is what this activation is about. It's about bringing the light. And I don't know your stories there much, but Rose and I both come from KwaZulu-Natal, which there's a lot of Zulu people there, and they, much like the Maoris, are very a warring kind of nation, And the thing that really surprised me, even from a young person, particularly going out into rural areas, is that the wealthy people are the unhappiest people. The more they have, the more they want. And I've been there myself. I put both my hands up, like you said, Rose. I've been down that path myself. That sort of wanting material things and getting them, and the more you have, the more they want. And it just always amazed me. I had all these amazing things, and I didn't have happiness. And I had people working for me that were just getting by. And they had the biggest smiles and the biggest hearts and the happiest people you'd ever imagine, I think to myself, man, I've got all this stuff and I don't feel happy. And African people just have the biggest hearts, they and I'm talking about native African people, obviously, all that, but just as a generalization of the native people, they have these beautiful hearts, man. Just this beautiful lovingness for Mother Earth. One, they're very connected to the earth, and even though they have very little, they will invite you in and share what they have. You both might know, particularly in South Africa, people used to smoke a lot. And in our time, it's not so common anymore. But for us, if we had cigarettes, we wouldn't. If someone kept taking cigarettes from you, say, man, this guy keeps taking cigarettes from me, and used to sort of curse them. Whereas in the African way, if you have a cigarette and you're able to give it to somebody else who doesn't have any or can't afford or whatever, there's no animosity to be around it at all. Like, I'm blessed to have this. I know you can't have it, and it's fine. You can have a cigarette, So the people there are just such beautiful people, and that, you know, I've traveled into not far into Africa, but quite a few different places in Africa, and they just are people with beautiful, beautiful hearts, you know. And as I say, it's kind of a circle of how things are going around again. But we've got to get past this cycle and circle of, you know, first it was them, then it was us, and now it's them again, and now we just keep standing on each other's heads. You know, we need to bring in this activation to bring about that love, as Rose spoke about earlier, that's in those people's hearts. Because there's two sides to the Zulu nation. They are warriors. I mean, everyone knows the story around the world that you don't want to pick a fight with a Zulu tribe. You know, you may not find it so easy, huh? And that's the side, the one side. It's the same with the Maori people here. They are warrior people. But on the other side, and we see it here in New Zealand as well, the Maori people generally are very jovial and happy people. And we just want to tap back in to that side of ourselves, which is the jovial happiness. And we don't have to feel like we need to be warriors and defend ourselves, defend our land, whatever. We just need to activate the unconditional love that we have within ourselves. And this is the start of it, yeah.
Yeah. Well said, Craig. I mean, I just on that, there is, you know, particularly South Africa, and I think other parts of Africa are always portrayed very badly and in a bad light by the media. But for anybody, I mean, most people I speak to here go, oh, I'll never go to South Africa because it's so scary. And to your point, there is nothing like it. You walk through, people are smiling, they greet you in the shops. There is an element there that is never portrayed on the media. There is something very, very special about Africa, because despite everything and all the oppression and everything that it goes through, people still really get along. You know, it's a concept. You know, we had a nanny that used to look after our children, and she was part of our family. You know, she was a part of the family. And, you know, everybody thinks that it's incredibly racial, but despite all those things, we all get along. It really is a rainbow nation. And, you know, it's not lost on me that it is the solar plexus, and I didn't know that many years ago. But Africa has a soul, and it's interesting because it's kind of in that area. It's like the seat of your soul, like the solar plexus is everybody's own inner sun. And it's just, it's very, very hard to describe, but there's a soul there, there's a life there, and there is a coherence there amongst the people. And in hard times, you actually see them all pulling together. And that's what fascinates me. I think they're only divided by agendas and things like that. And that's really why I'm here today, because I would like to clear some of those agendas and some of that darkness, and just allow the light to flow through there as it should be.
Yeah.
So, yeah, fully with you.
Yeah. Well, corruption is the big thing, and that's all around the world. And we're starting to see that now. Or people around the world are starting to see that governments, one of a better word, people that govern us, control, and the people in control, corporates, big pharma, big tech, all these words that have for them. People are starting to realize, man, they are not looking after the people, you know. They're looking after themselves, and there's an agenda which you spoke about. We need to change that. And we started to see that, where people are starting to see, man, you know, these guys don't, their agenda is not to look after people. And as I say, South Africa in particular, you know, the poorest people just get poorer and poorer, and fewer people do well, you know. And it's something we need to change that complete. We need to shift with this activation. We need to activate a completely new way of things being done, you know, out with the old and in with the new. Not quite sure how that's going to look, but we know that it's got to be different.
I like that, Craig, out with the old and in with the new, in terms of everything, really, because, well, some things is uncomfortable that is changing, out with the old and in with the new, but we're all going through it. And it's important that we sort of embrace the change. Coming back to Africa, I made that point in general, but I just want to talk about Africa. Many people don't realize this, but there are lots of people in Africa that don't know where the next meal is coming from. They don't know where the next meal is coming from. They just go with the flow of the day. and it turns up if it turns up. There are many people that don't have the guarantee. And I talk about people that are really poor. I'm not talking about middle-class people. I'm talking about people that are really poor. When Emma mentioned the nanny, that is actually a thing that is promoted, to have a home helper in South Africa, for example, and I'm sure other parts of Africa, because unemployment is quite high in these places. And when you provide employment for somebody by employing them as your home helper or your nanny, you actually help somebody have work, and that's the thing. Perhaps the rest of the world may not realize that that's the reason for it, but that is it. When we hear people referring to food as the shit word, or I don't eat that shit, I think, wow. Coming from Africa, we think, wow, people don't even care about what that is as long as they can eat it, as long as it's edible and that they can sustain themselves. Because anything that's horrible to eat to one person outside of some place in Africa might be absolutely tasty to someone in Africa, because, hey, that's food. Food is what is necessary. Africa is a rich continent. It is rich in terms of minerals. It's rich in so many ways. I mean, South Africa has 26 of the 28 minerals. Zimbabwe has the other two. Think about it in that perspective. Why is it a continent that has poverty consciousness? Why is it that people are struggling and they don't have the assurance of their 3 meals a day? Because of whatever's happened to it historically, like Craig mentioned, colonization and stuff like that, because a lot of the wealth of Africa has been taken out of Africa. It's not serving the people of Africa, yet it is from Africa. Now, that's not just Africa. There's other parts of the world that's like that. What we need to do is return to stasis. But the only way we return to stasis is because of the people's mindsets changing, and for the people to see who they are, the empowered beings that they have come to be here on this planet. And so lighting up Africa is all about that. So Craig, I am going to hand this back. Is it you, Emma, that wants to bring in your guides, or now, or Craig? Which one wants to go first to bring in the guides for the lighting up?
Emma can go, it's no problem. She's got to.
Okay. I thought Veer was coming in, so that's why I'm asking you. And you, Emma, you can explain who Veer is.
Yeah, so Veer is actually the root chakra dragon, I believe, of the universe. So yeah, he is I guess really instrumental. So when Auberon came in a little bit earlier, the whole thing behind Africa is this poverty consciousness. The root chakra is really all about your basic needs. So it's shelter, food, safety, all of those kinds of things. And of course, that is very much lacking in Africa in general, and in South Africa for a lot of people. So really, really important to just bring in that beautiful energy of the fact that we are all supported, we are taken care of, that we do live on an abundant planet, that countries in and of themselves are abundant. It is an illusion, and it is some of the things that have been going on throughout the ages that have caused us to think that we live in lack. And I do believe that the dragons are here to help us with this, because many, 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 many eons ago, the dragons and the humans coexisted. We were friends. They looked out for us. We looked out for them. And when the consciousness started to fall, and all of the other beings, like the angelics, the unicorns, some of those other beings could not remain on planet Earth. And the dragons chose to stay with us, and they went to sleep in the mountains and in the rocks and the ocean floor and the riverbeds and all those kinds of things. And we are awakening to that consciousness now. Some of us have carried that consciousness within us our whole lifetime. Other people are awakening to it now. But the point is that the dragons are here to help us, because they can go into the densest, darkest places with us, which is something that those Those other, the angelics, the unicorns and that, they are in the sort of the 7th dimension, the 5th dimension. The dragons are the only ones that can go into the darkness with us. And now that they are awakening on the planet, particularly this root chakra, a lot of us live in fear. We live in fear every single day. There's fear that is just broadcast over every news station. And this beautiful dragon Veer, I think, is here to help us stabilize that root element of this universe, in fact, so that we know that we are safe, we are held, we are reminded that we are part of the all. We have not been abandoned, we are not alone, and that is up to us. Each one of us changes within us and brings in the starting to feel safe, relaxed, loving, all those kinds of things. And that just ripples out into the collective, because we really have to be the change we wish to see in the world. It doesn't happen outside of us. So for me, Veer is really, really critical at this stage, as I say, because I do believe the whole planet lives in fear, not just those in Africa. And it's time to let that go. It's time to see through the illusion. And the dragons are really masters at helping us clear dense energy, the ley lines of the earth, all these kinds of things. They can just burn up and transmute things with such ease. And as I say, they are our friends. Most of us were dragon riders or were dragon riders. We've had lives with them or as them. And it's such a beautiful honor to be working with them again. And yeah, so that's kind of my spiel on the dragons at the moment and what Veer is doing for us.
Yes, I'm on mute. Thank you. Okay, thank you for that, Emma. Yeah, I just thought we must bring Veer into it, and I'm saying Veer because it's what Veer. I said it right. Veer, right. You have to have the click, and that click comes from Africa. Yeah. Okay, Craig, over to you with your guides.
My grandfather was born in Kopo.
Okay, Nkopo. Yeah.
Yeah, so just with regards to the guides, I spoke about some of the what I call the kind of native guides that have Native Americans, and my Aboriginal guide are two of my main earthly kind of guides. But then another thing about Africa and South Africa in particular, and I'm not saying this history is correct or whatever, it's just sometimes some of the interpretation or what we've seen or what I understand. But there's a place in South Africa that's referred to as the cradle of humanity. And it's there, I can't remember, just east of Johannesburg somewhere. I've been there. It's on the Vaal River. And from what I remember, it's a meteorite that actually hit Africa. There's this great big indentation. And it's kilometers across, and they refer to this as the cradle of humanity. And it's interesting that if we go back in history all over, there's sightings and cave paintings or whatever of extraterrestrials going back thousands and thousands of years. If we take a lot of the pyramids that are all over the world, how they were built firstly, that seems to have been done by not human beings or technology that we have even now. We couldn't do it. And they align with the stars and times of the year and astrology in Egypt and everywhere else around the world. So I have extraterrestrial guides that are with me, and Arcturian guides in particular, that are with me, and I've sensed them quite strongly in this particular activation that we're doing. And it brings about a lot of anxiety or fear or disbelief in people, but to think that we don't come from somewhere else. And all traditions talk about, and in Africa in particular, they talk about coming from the stars, the Maoris talk about the Matariki, the Seven Sisters. So I think the possibility that we come from other galactic beings or whatever it may be is quite strong. It's interesting that cradle of humanity is where a meteorite, perhaps it was a spaceship, who knows, that it landed there with a big impact, what it may have been, but there may have been the seeding of humanity from there, and from that, who knows, So Africa is really a very important part of this world of ours. And as I say, the extraterrestrial beings, and I have 3 Arcturian guides that are with me all the time, and I see them around me now, and I'm blessed to connect with the Galactic Council. I've been told that many people do connect with the Galactic Council, but they've come to me a few times, and that's all different intergalactic races. I just happen to feel that I'm of Arcturian descent, but we're all interconnected. So as much as we know that humanity goes back to the beginning of time, we also need to know that we are connected to these beings, other entities that are really well advanced and can help us to bring about the shift, because it doesn't seem like we can't see how we can do it ourselves. And I'm blessed to know we have those angelics around with us as well, you know?
Yes, indeed. And thank you for bringing in the Pleiades, Matariki. I was going to mention, I thought they needed to come in and you brought them in. Thank you so much. Matariki, the Pleiades, everyone in the constellation of Taurus. It is coming into view very soon with the naked eye. It is the one constellation that can be seen up in the heavens. You know, with the naked eye, you can see a cluster of stars. And if you're ever looking for it, look for Sirius. And then move left, depending on where you are, move left and you will see Orion's belt. And then move further left and you will see the cluster of stars. And we see it in New Zealand from the middle of August. Thank you. And Craig, thank you for bringing the Arcturians with you. For a long time, I have wanted more than anything else for some sense of the Arcturians being in Africa. Because when we worked with the Arcturians, I was trying to find somebody in South Africa or anywhere in Africa that would connect with us, because we wanted to hopefully have a planetary city of light in Africa. And you brought them to Africa today in our consciousness, because maybe there's people there that do communicate with the Arcturians, but we don't know about them. But thank you for that. So that's going to be really good. So are we ready for light language? Can I proceed with my part of the light language? Right, friends, I'm already feeling emotional before we actually get to this. I'm going to share my screen. And for everybody that's watching online, I see that you've told us where you are. Nice to have you, Sue Hamilton. Just saying, and we've got somebody from South Africa saying, good morning from South Africa, sending us a rainbow and all that. And if I just haven't had a chance to look at everybody that's on there. But yeah, just to say that I am going to find where I can share my screen, because for some reason I can't see it on my screen at the moment. Oh, there we go. Share. It's in green. What's wrong, Rose? I mean, seriously, technology and Rose, sometimes we just don't get on. Okay, friends, please look at this beautiful goddess. So the African goddesses, I have this oracle card deck here, and it's the African goddess, this one. I'm feeling a little bit emotional. Let's see if we can increase her. There she is. Now, she flew out of the deck this afternoon. I didn't know she was coming. But if you look at her, she's a number 5. So if you think about your numerology, what number 5 means for you, or if it's your life path number, then that might mean something. She's Mbuya, Mehanda. And she stands for radical rebirth. I'm just going to have to put my musician's mode on, friends. Bear with me 1 second. Always forget to do that. You know, Rose, she does these things. Here we are. Here we go. So, yeah, feeling rather hot at the moment. I don't know how you're feeling, Craig and Emma, but I just feel like the African heat is coming on, and so there we are. So, when we do South Africa's light language activation, this might make a little bit more sense, but this was the African goddess that flew out of this oracle card deck called African God Rising when I did a search today, or a shuffle today. And yeah, it kind of makes me feel emotional, because I couldn't have imagined that this would be the next card for our session today, but here we are. Mbuya Nahanda is the goddess of radical rebirth. She is from Shona, or Shonaland, Zimbabwe. The temple, because this card, oracle card deck is made up of temples, not suites, and the temple she comes from is ancestors. Her element is air. And the little message from her, about her, is born around 1840. Chawe Nyakasikana channeled a Mdondo, an ancient royal lion spirit named Nahanda, who has been incarnated by revolutionary Shona woman, or meaning woman from Zimbabwe, right? For at least 500 years. Heralded as Mbuya Nahanda, grandmother Nahanda, this great ancestress was a healer who declared war against colonial occupation. Now I know why, Craig, because you brought the colonial occupation thing into this, and that's why I know she's turned up. Mbuya Nahanda's guidance is, yes, you can. Stop the struggle. You can choose at any moment to start over and be reborn. Like the sun, you rise again and again. Wow. Her embodiment to us is, dust yourself off, move forward, and go for it again. Life is about transition and change. You will fall on your face, change your mind, and need to make a comeback again and again. Release the idea that you messed up if things aren't perfect. Stop waiting to be ready. Make new choices and decisions. The goddess's declaration is, still I rise, still I rise, still I rise. Oh, friends, keep your feet firmly planted on the ground. And this is Africa. Take your breath. Africa. It's a koraratika for anano. Africa, Africa, Africa. Africa. Moro mama mama heya. Morarera terara terara dune. Moela la 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 kotofanana la 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 lo. Africa. Oh, breathing, taking a breath. There's a lot of heat and there's a lot of energy here. And I just feel like racing across the savannas. Can you feel me? Can you feel me? Can you feel the energy, friends? My hands keep feeling like I need to get up and I need to ride through the plains of Africa, 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 Africa. Yeah, yeah, la 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 mama you yeah I no na 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 yeah yeah maroto tvangeru Africa. Rise up. Ichukona khaita farana khaita makutukutu fahainete. Romokhota mokhota mokhota makhita makata makata fa downtrodden, yeah, wa tutufa rise up nikutufa ina ichkuluku tibatu felikedu hakandia inukushima shimukushima ashtanema ikaramatsa nikutuba kitufana. You are not downtrodden. Did they tell you that you have nothing? Did they tell you that you just need to be an experiment? No. No more. It's a makata toto farana. Africa, 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 Africa. Yechemeche chamarat samajokaran. I'm a Africa. I'm a Africa. Iramakoto makata makoto maranakaya. Iramatutu fararatutumo. I'm a Africa. Lion spirit. golden. The sun is always shining. The sun is always shining in Africa. I know you think you can't see it, but it's shining. Irama, Irama, Khatuma, Ramakai, Africa gold. Yawan, Ikaramatos Farana. Ooh, Hanakitamakai. Take a moment, friends. Hamatoto Tamakai Nate. Oh, Yanatoto Faranakai. Oh, can you take us back? Dumohatana Kato? Tamarakatamota.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you, Rose. So I see the beautiful lions there. And what's come in for me is the leopard energy as well. And funnily enough, this is another animal that is unique to Africa. And the essence of the leopard is also about release, but about power. And leopards are quite solitary animals, but they have incredible hunting abilities. They hunt all alone. You know, they're not part of a pride, and they have incredibly strong jaws. So they are powerful, but their message was one of release, and that their energy is here to help us to release and let go of the old, and then also embrace the new. But it's really important. I think, Rose, you mentioned this earlier, releasing the old, but you have to release things before you can make space to bring things in. So that energy is really, really, really important. And the other beautiful message that I got is from the bats, and they're one of kindness. And that really ties into the, spreading loving kindness, because that is the way that we create a better earth. But also that bats are creatures that are really, really important. A lot of people don't realize how important bats are for pollination of the earth and for seeding, and they're very much like bees and butterflies and things like that, but they go and largely pollinate all the flowers and that open at night. And what's really, really important is, as they plant their seeds, of course, that is all about fertility and abundance and new growth and that kind of thing. So I'm reminded once again of the fertileness of Africa and the abundance of Africa. What also came in for me was that I think of the solar plexus as being yellow, but these dragons are very much golden. There's a golden energy there. And isn't it the place where gold was found? So there's a real richness and a sort of a theme and an abundance energy coming through here, which I feel is quite beautiful. And while you were doing your thing, Rose, I was just pulling in light from the great central sun and from the universe, and just trying to get that anchored in, and asking the dragons to just take it deep into the earth wherever it is needed.
Thank you, Em. Thank you for that, Craig. Yamakoto Faranahai, Timakati Kototo Romahai, and Tiforon Kashimaki to Somokata, Timokote Faranahai to Tomahai. Iran, not to Toto. I think this is for your Arcturian guides. Yamato to Faranahai to make it to be keto. You are welcome to share your thoughts on this. Yakarando.
Yeah, Rose, very, very interesting. This card, as you say, and the link to the Arcturians. And I think I told you the story about this sort of magic wand that was given to me by my daughter from a friend of her daughter. And if you look at that card, you'll see the crystal at the top.
Yes.
The leather on the way down. It's very similar to what she's holding in her hand, And at the bottom of this is a ball, and it's kind of like the earth. And I'm getting the message from me: when we finish here, I'll go out and anchor this to the earth. It's kind of like as she's done with that staff of hers.
Yeah.
This is down to earth, and it's it's just uncanny that I've had this thing for 20 years, if not more.
Yeah.
Just, well, my daughter's had it for 20 years. She gave it to me when I came here, you know. And I've always known there would be a time when I'd need to use this magic wand. And when I look at this, and I looked at that card, I thought, man, that looks like very much like what I've got in my hand, you know. I've got the leather and of course the copper in here as well. And I think Zimbabwe has copper mines. So a few other interesting things about that. And I'll just, some of them that I wrote down. One is that Mbuya and the radical rebirth. But the interesting thing is those are two lionesses.
Yeah.
There's not a lion there.
Yeah.
And I've spoken a bit, and of course I'm, you know, I'm the male in the room, or the elephant in the room, as they would say sometimes, you know. That male energy is where we need to shift away from.
Yeah.
The male lion, and it's not a criticism, as you know, it's just how we need to change things. But it's interesting that she is a female, and those two lionesses are with her. It's that feminine energy that we need, the warring, and I spoke about the Zulus, Maoris, Native Americans, whatever, where they are warring tribes, and the masculine energy is a warring energy. And this is what we're moving away from. And interestingly, looking at her as well, you see the blue lips and the blue crystal kind of on a third eye, or whatever, for me was and the background of the sky is blue. And it's just the Arcturians were just dazzling all over, as Emma said, that energy just coming through from them was just so powerful, saying they are connected, the Arcturians were there. As you said, right, I may have brought them into this activation. However, they've been there. You brought this card out and activated it. And it's the old traditional shaman, African shaman, woman in this case, but it also goes back to what we see as the future, which is the extraterrestrials. But of course, the extraterrestrials are part of our past. We're only just getting to realize now at this time clearer that they were here. People that were here before knew them, and they probably came and visited, like came here for holiday or whatever, like we do. We go on a July school break, which we're doing now, kind of saying they would have come down here and done some stuff and headed back. So in the old days, they were connecting with them all the time. But we've lost that connection. It's time to go back to that feminine energy. So I just wrote you, the stuff. It's clear quartz, leather and copper from Shauna land, which has copper in it as well. So it's really, for me, very significant that I brought this with me. And I was playing with my granddaughter today, and she popped it up, and it just reminded me of this. And it was time for me to activate this. Part of our activation is using this magic wand, which just ties up almost exactly the same as what she's holding in her hand there, which I find very interesting. So it's a beautiful time for us to bring those angelic beings and extraterrestrials, Arcturians, in to help us bring about this activation.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing, everyone, for a few minutes. Okay, here we are. Well, and I worried that the Arcturians, I was having some arguments with the Arcturians about why they weren't in Africa. They've been there all the time. I just didn't get the memo. Friends, I just feel so blessed by that goddess. I call her a goddess, but she's a goddess. She's from the temple of the ancestors. And there is something about the divine feminine energy that needs to come into Africa. It feels like Africa has just operated a lot with that warrior. We have peaceful warriors, but it's operated more on the other side, the divine masculine that makes war. And the wars are what kind of wars? They're not with good resolution, or they shouldn't start in the first place, you know. Some of the things that are warring, as you know, are not worth being at war for, right? So we come to this point now where we go to South Africa, and I'm going to read from a book here that I have. I'm going to go to South Africa now. I'll just say very quickly about Craig kind of reminded me about this, to remind everyone who's watching that after we do this activation, if you're not doing something mindful at the moment where you're joining the activation like live as we are, as in you're just watching but you're not lighting a candle or anything like that, please tune in to see if you need to go outside straight after the activation and light some candles and look up at the heavens and call some of your guides in, or some energy in that might be waiting there for you to call them in, so that you can work with them going forward for any other activations that come up. Because this activation that we're doing for Africa and bringing the light, lighting up Africa, means that you're going to start to see things you didn't know was there. You're going to start to feel things, whether you're in Africa or not. Anybody who's coming across this is going to have that experience, whether it's today or maybe, I don't know, whenever else, 10 days from now or whenever. All right. So just remember to do a mindful practice. Many people will be doing it after this, because we put that out in our little video to announce this was happening. And so if you're doing it where you are and someone else is doing it where they are, that means we are all connected in some way. We can't see it, but the heavens can see it, the guides can see it, and we're all connecting. So thank you for that reminder, Craig. I want to say this about Africa. The second golden age on earth was in Africa. And it was called the Golden Age. It was called the Golden Age of Petranium. Just so you know that about Africa. The Dragon Master of Africa is Afra. I tried to find out more information about Afra, and there's nothing much you can find out on Google. So I need to find somewhere else. Maybe there's a book in many places that you have to go and look in a library somewhere. Nevertheless, we will be looking at the Afra that's come through before we leave today. Let's go to South Africa. South Africa is the solar plexus of Earth. Your personal solar plexus chakra, when it is third dimensional, absorbs the fear around you. It is only when you become fifth dimensional that your solar plexus chakra transmutes all fear and becomes a glorious, vibrant, radiant golden ball of knowledge, true self-worth, and wisdom. Because Earth is the solar plexus of this universe, the fear of the universe passes through South Africa. It is this that holds the whole of Africa back. The dragons are patiently waiting to cleanse the crystals and light them up so that they reconnect with the awesome knowledge they hold from all over the universe. Now, what they're talking about is that South Africa has got crystals, right? And the connection to the stars is through the crystals, and I'll come back to that very shortly. I want to first finish reading about South Africa. Right. South Africa will become a radiant golden place where all the inhabitants have true self-worth and wisdom. They will be able to illuminate the planet, access minerals without damaging the structure of the earth, control the waters, and direct the clouds so that rain falls in right places, or the places they are needed. The information held within the crystals means that Africa is one of the places that is key to the future irrigation of the planet when it will be much needed. Wow. Right. Let's go to the crystals. The crystals at the time that Africa was a golden age were awake and beamed light out to the stars. The dragons worked with the people of that time to ensure they were totally connected to the stars through the crystals. They also helped to keep the portals clear. It was only when this connection diminished that the frequency of the inhabitants lowered and they became physical. The food they ate and the hot climate determined the black color of their skin. They all worked on the blue ray of healing and communication. So,
Rose, that's uncanny.
It is, right? It is. Friends, if it's available to you, I will encourage you to hold the crystal. Wow. Wow.
So the reason I'm saying it's uncanny is because this was the card I pulled out before we started today, just as we were getting into the space.
Crystal Guardian.
And it's the Crystal Guardian. So I'm being called to just send this energy out. I mean, I didn't know you were going to read that.
Mm-hmm.
And the message here is that crystals contain the wisdom of the earth. Some believe that dragons too were made from the molten center of the earth and therefore, like crystals, contain an ancient wisdom. Now is the time to draw on the earth's grounding and deep intelligence. Whether you consult your crystals, walk amongst rock beds, or lay down with your spine stretched across the earth, seek the counsel of the earth and listen to her stories and her messages. There is a voice and a vibration inside the rocks which will help ground you deep into the molten center of your own core. Isn't that
Awesome.
beautiful?
That's amazing. That's amazing. It's such a confirmation. I
I
have,
don't know if you remember, Rose and Emma,
carry on.
when you asked me when we were putting this thing together, what dragon was coming to me. And I don't know if you remember, I said a blue dragon. I looked at that card you just shown, and that's kind of, when I think of it now, it's what I remember. I said to you, it's a blue dragon.
Yeah.
But it's not fire. There's kind of a blue coolness around it. That would
Yeah.
be the crystals. Remember, I said this dragon that's coming is a blue dragon, and it's
Mhm.
not a dragon of fire. It's a dragon of kind of like a coolness, you know. And I looked at that
Crystal.
card when you put it up now, Emma, I thought, that explains exactly what I told you a week or two ago when we spoke about the dragon coming. It's
Yeah.
like, that's exactly what I saw. This blue
Yeah.
dragon with no fire, but
Yeah.
rather sort of a smoke, a cool smoke around it almost.
Which it has. Yeah. Wow.
And even the color reminds me of water. And that's what you were just talking about, Rose.
Yeah. Water.
And we've got the moon behind it, which controls the tides of the planet.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's uncanny, as you said.
It is uncanny. It is uncanny. Now, there's a couple of lines I want to read before we do the next, we invoke the next guardian of the energetic guardian that's coming through to give us a message. And yeah, wow, that next one, I'm already very emotional about that one. The original ones is what this one is titled. Some of the original beings of Petranium remain in their etheric bodies at a seventh dimensional frequency in order to guide and help Africa. Currently, those who sense their presence are afraid of them. But as the vibration rises, people will listen to them again. Very hopeful message. Everyone watching at home, wherever you are, please take some time to drink a sip of your water. Not a glass of your water, but a sip of your water. We're just going to go in and do another message. But before I do that, Emma and Craig, feel free to share something before we bring in the next part of this activation.
I feel that this is quite important, but this was I was going to share it at the end, but I just feel like I'm called to share it now. But my other card that I did pull was the card number 10, which is the ending of cycles and the beginning of new cycles. And it's all about transcendence and achieving success. And you can see that there is a transcendence there is a burning up of, and the man that's on top of the dragon is also kind of on fire.
Yeah.
But the message of the guardian, the dragon rider, is it's time to shine and move forward in light. Success is yours, victory is yours. Let your light shine in a burst of glory as you spread your arms open wide to accept the power and joy of victory. You win. Isn't it beautiful? So for Africa.
Beautiful.
And then the dragon says, it isn't just about winning and getting what you want. It's what's happened after that. Time to go to the next level. You need to transcend, transform, reach out and redefine yourself once you've earned your victory. You need to reinvent and renew. We're going out with a bang, boom.
Of course.
And then just the invocation is just really about embracing each new successful endeavor and then transcending to reach untold new levels of appreciation. It's time to evolve, plot your course, steer your ship, and celebrate each new victory. And I just think that just goes to show, or to say that also just celebrate the little victories. It's not about the end result. It's not about the winning, but it's about when you achieve something, celebrate it, and then remember that there is the next level up, because we want to continuously evolve, make better, love more, and just make this like the best place to live.
Yes.
Thank you,
Yes.
Rose.
Welcome. Craig, you okay? You want to say something?
Yeah, just on that, on that card, you know, that just bursting forth of bringing the darkness, and I see that in the picture almost like the scales of a dragon that's black, and they're falling away. And we're seeing quite a lot in Africa where leaders, or African leaders, presidents in certain countries, are standing up against the world as such. Because they're
Yes.
being suppressed in a way and controlled the West, and America is the big guys, you know. And we've seen quite a lot where some African leaders are standing up and saying, no,
That's right.
enough. You've
Yeah.
been raping and pillaging us for long enough.
Yeah.
Enough.
Yeah.
And that reminded me of that picture there where they're now standing up and they're in a dragon, because Africa has always been sort of pushed down, not just the African continent, you know, Europe and Russia and China and obviously India, big countries, and America and South America, and Africa is just considered the guys you can just trample all over, go in there,
Yeah.
steal all their stuff and whatever, you know. And we're seeing quite a few African leaders now standing up in you know, in different parts of the world, in the European unions, whatever it may be, and standing up saying, no, enough of you guys, you know.
Yeah.
That picture of yours just reminded me, yeah, they're actually now starting to burn away that suppression. They're now standing up
Yeah.
and burning away that those dominoes, those black scales of dominoes are starting to just, like dominoes, they're going to start to fall away.
Yeah.
And just roll away.
Yeah. And there's fire in it.
Yeah.
And Africa will come back, and the growth will be back.
Yes.
To Gaia, you know?
Yeah. And Rose, just for you, the constellation that is linked to this dragon.
Sorry, is the Pleiades?
Phoenix.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's awesome. And everybody, if you're wondering why Emma's saying that to me, is because my collective that I channel are called the Phoenix, and they are ninth dimensional, both Pleiadian and Arcturian collective. So, you know, from the stars. Okay, we're about to see our next guide. She turned up this morning, and yeah, she's something else. Very important thing about her is that she, you know, I needed to do this because we were doing South Africa. We're talking about South Africa. Look at her. Friends, let's listen to her story. She's called Queen Nandi. She's the number 35, which is the numerology. In numerology, if you add it up, is 8, which is a number of balance. And her message is intuition. So I feel really emotional about this because I had a bit of a download about the story. And I will tell you about this after we've done the light language. Queen Nandi is the goddess of intuition. Her origin is Zulu. I need to say. She's from the Temple of Queens, and her element is fire. Okay. Queen Nandi was the mother of warrior king Shaka Zulu. His father's royal family first rejected her. They said that she wasn't pregnant and her belly resulted from an Ishaka beetle sting. But Nandi knew her son would be great before he was born. Her guidance is, you already know. So, take a deep breath and surrender to what you know to be true. Trust your inner wisdom and guidance. Her embodiment is, what is your guidance telling you? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Now, everybody, I invite you, as Queen Nandi is asking us to do this, put your hands over your third eye, which is at the center of your forehead. Take a breath. And then think this thought. If I knew what the answer is, what would it be? And now, follow your instinct and hear the message. And I'll say it again, so you remember. If I knew what the answer is, what would it be? And as you're taking a moment to absorb that answer, because it's coming from your third eye, you know what came to your mind. You know what your third eye revealed to you. The Creator and your ancestors connect with you through your intuition. Trust your internal GPS, the nudges, the signs, and coincidences. They are all divine guidance. So slow down. Slow down. Go for a walking meditation. Be present with nature and pay attention. Being present allows you to feel, hear, see, and sense your guidance. The goddess's declaration, I am knowing, I am knowing, I am knowing. Friends, are you knowing? Are you knowing? Africa, are you knowing? South Africa, are you knowing? Collective, African collective, collective of the planet, are you knowing? Are you knowing? Are you knowing? Are you knowing? So tell me then, what do you think of my Shaka Zulu, my prince? Do you believe everything about him? Do you really? Where did you get that information? I'm a Shaka. I'm a Shaka. Yamaki moto. Iramanandi, Ramananda, Iramanando, la lo mahe. Can you see her? Can you see Nandi? I'm a Nandi, flying over Africa. Can you see him? Can you see Shaka, warrior prince? Shaka, Kuromatika faranakai no toa. Kirabaka totoromahai. Do you believe it? Do you know? Shaka the prince is bringing in the air energy. Oramahata maharamahai na tufaranahai. Koramahitle. He runs through the plains like the lions of Africa. Oh my Africa, oh my Africa, Ngeranahai. Yeah, no. Kiramakutle are Isakaromakata Mahainamoto Faranahai. Friends, wherever you are, Bring in the lights and light up Africa. Itoko makati kete 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 oh alelelelelelele maha lelelelelelele aye yeah 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 la 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 no hoeleno aye irabakato do ramahai niaramaho ne ahumahya mahom. Please do not be afraid of the beings, the seventh dimensional beings that are in Africa, that have been waiting for you, Africa, to awaken. So the download about Queen Nandi is that she bore and she brought and she is the channel and the transportation for Shaka Zulu. Now, Africa, people of this planet, we have ideas of Shaka. These ideas of Shaka and who it was are not what you think and what you have been told. His mother speaks to you today on his behalf. He has been a guardian for South Africa, and South Africa is the solar plexus of the planet. And yeah, we do have the warrior nation in the Zulus. But Semakotso, dare I say the warrior nation was necessary for survival? But Shaka was misrepresented. His part was misrepresented. So I invite you, humanity, I invite you, collective of Africa, to reevaluate this. Remember, the tribes came from North Africa to South Africa. They weren't in South Africa, but they came from North Africa to South Africa. Mefakan, Defakan, do you remember? Yeah. They were sent there because they were bringing in this light. That one of those tribes is bringing in Shaka Zulu. The Zulu tribe was bringing in Shaka. And Shaka roams the plains of Africa because he's one of the guardians of Africa. And he roams the plains with the lions. And he runs as they run. Paradigm shift. Changing Africa mindset. Changing the collective's mindset into peace, love, and joy. No more poverty consciousness. Africa is a rich continent. It's been a rich continent like the others. The others have gotten richer on its wealth. Time to wake up and light up your knowledge. Whose report will you believe? Dare I ask you? Thank you, my friends. Thank you, Queen Nandi. And thank you, Shaka. Doramachai. Thank you. Mbuya and Mehanda. Klonantinana. Zemako, and thank you for coming through with your lionesses and the pure positive energy of the divine feminine. The mother has spoken. Aramakon, Nandi has spoken. The grandmothers, they spoke. No more. And so we stand up and we hold our support and our light. We stand up for Africa and we stand up for South Africa because South Africa is the power center, the empowerment platform for this collective, for this planet. And this planet being the solar plexus of the cosmos, of this solar system or galaxy. Thank you. Machinity. Thank you. Machinamata. Ooh. Thank you, friends. Umakatahe. Dokotata. Nikleta dudono da dikita. Desfahe.
Thank you, Rose.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, I feel kind of dizzy from that experience. So please feel free to say, and I just want Nandi to be up there on the screen a little bit longer.
So, what I also brought in was, I don't want to freak anybody out, but the energy of the tarantula. Energy of the tarantula, and actually all spiders, is about connection. The web of life. The web, the internet that connects us all. All these things are actually webs. And they don't, for the spiders, they don't just trap the prey, but they protect and they support the spiders. They're actually their homes. But when the spider comes in, it's very much a bringing in what you want. It's about creativity. It's about creating the life and the world that you want. And it is about connection. And it is time for us as a species to connect, no matter what race, color, gender, whatever. And even if they are not from this planet, but for us to just start connecting with the earth, with nature, animals, plants, and one another. The connection message is very, very strong. Thank you.
Thank you. Craig, Kaimakepa?
Yeah, Rose, that was pretty powerful, man. Wow. You know, the really interesting thing that's come up when just looking at that card, and it came up before that, but during the card, it made me realize, and I'm looking at it from the front, on the right-hand side, but on Nandi's left are the books in the library behind. And I wrote down here, history is written by the victors. And we've all heard that saying, you know, in recent times, that history is written by the victors. And our story of Shaka that we understand generally is that he was a, you know, ruthless warmonger that just took over everywhere. And it just made me realize that we actually have absolutely no idea. We weren't there at that time, you know. And history is written by the victors. And I you know, go back to colonization, whatever you want to call it, whatever. It's not blaming on anybody. It's all part of the cycle that we're going through. It doesn't matter which side we're on, which part we're playing at this time. But, you know, what we may have thought of Shaka may not be correct in any way at all. And it's the same with the Native Americans and other tribes, Native Americans, Aborigines, where they were demonized, you know. They worship trees, and the Native Americans are much more godly than any of the preachers that came out to America to teach them Christianity. Such, it was very interesting. For the first time, I've always thought of Shaka, as I say, as a ruthless leader that just he just dominated, you know. Well, I actually have no idea about that. That's just what I've been told by the victors, you know. Who knows whether that's correct? It's very interesting that Nandi's come through with intuition, because I'm an intuitive healer. And that's what I do. And I felt that when I saw her and intuition, my first thing was, how can she possibly be intuition, you know? And then I realized, that's actually it. I mean, she knew. And the interesting thing that I had, the connection between Shaka Zulu and Yeshua, Jesus, was in the same way they were both crucified.
Yeah.
We use for another word. In the same way, I'm thinking that he was this person. Shaka was crucified in a sense as being this ruthless, murderous person, but he may not have been that. He may have actually brought everyone together. He may have been a strong leader that brought stability.
Yeah.
So it's really, really interesting that came up, something I've never thought of, and I thank you so much for her coming through, making me look at something in a completely different light. So maybe what I've been shown and told is incorrect, because I only know that because some history book has told me that. I have no idea whether it's true or not. I just believe it because that's what someone wrote down somewhere.
Yeah.
But it may not be the truth at all.
Yeah.
And so the interesting part about it was that Shaka Zulu, much like, and I'm not comparing the two, but it's just kind of interesting in that Yeshua, Jesus, came from an unwed mother, as such. Could use the word a bastard child. I don't mean it in that way, but
Yeah.
I mean. And Nandi was the same. She was considered not one of his wives, but that obviously had been one of the king's lovers. So also, in a sense, he was referred to as a bastard child in the same kind of sense. And in the end, he was stabbed in the back by his brother, in the same way that Christ, in a sense, was stabbed in the back by his own church. The church crucified Jesus. His own, not his followers, but the religious sector, the priests or whatever, they said, no, this guy's a charlatan. You need to. And I thought that the Christ consciousness came through to me really strongly during that during a thing, and I've never thought of, and I'm not comparing him to Christ or the Christ consciousness, but perhaps if you read through the Zulu history of it, he may have been a Christ conscious like figure.
Yeah, exactly.
That that did things in a different way, because the earthly third dimensional way of being able to gain control is not war, but it's the way you have to do things in a sense. We're moving away from that, but that was really, really powerful. And the cross consciousness came through really strongly, saying, he's not the only person that stories were told about him that weren't necessarily correct. That was very beautiful. Thank you. That's just an amazingly powerful card. I'll connect to Nandi later. And the other thing was the shield.
Yes,
and
the spear
on her right-hand side. I said the book's on her left, which is in Reiki terms is the past.
Yeah.
And those other sort of squares and almost like could be pyramids. And if you see one block, it looks like a pyramid looking from the top.
Exactly. Yeah.
I thought, okay, we spoke about the extraterrestrials, and it's like those shapes on the other side are either in the future, the past, that is the future, the intergalactics, whatever. And the shield is, as you spoke about, the native people of South Africa came from the north, and they brought their cattle with them. And the ones that could survive through the tsetse flies, the Ngunis that ended up in South Africa, the ones that could survive, they built up an immunity as they came down further south. And the only cattle that survived were the Nguni, the Zulus Nguni cattle. And it's kind of a survival of having to adapt and survive, to get to there. Yeah, it's just a really beautiful, man. That was amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, she flew out of the deck this morning when we did when we had another intuitive meeting, and I just got the download about him, and I just saw him. I saw him on the plains of Africa, and I saw him, riding the lion, running with the lion, and it's just like the energy of Shaka remains in Africa still, because he had come for something. He had come to make a shift, but whatever happened, sort of took them. Whatever happened, the visitors were more powerful and more. What's the word, conniving in how to actually overpower the native people that were there at the time. And so the story is not the story. And I think Nandi really wanted us to know that. She wanted us to bring it into this, because she's asking us to use our intuition, right? And she's also saying, and through that message, we suddenly saw Shaka from a different sense, not the one that we actually knew or we've been taught about him. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to stop sharing, everyone. And I see that we have gone on quite long, and so I just want to remind everybody to to go out and have your water, walk in nature, just ground yourself, whatever it is that makes you feel balanced again. Because I had to do this a few times today because of Nandi turning up this morning when we had a session at 7 o'clock this morning. She turned up then, and I just felt totally shaken by that energy. And so I've been experiencing it all day long. So one thing before we go is thank you everyone that have put your comments on. I will go later on and I'll have a look at the comments and I'll reply to you. And thank you. I saw that we had Sarah, we had Sue from Vancouver Island, we had somebody in South Africa, as I said, and various places that were just saying hello to us. And you know what? We didn't say hello to you personally, but hello to you, everyone. And thank you so much that you were here with us. What I will show is the new energy that is coming in terms of a dragon. So Afra is the dragon master of Africa. And he's the intuitive seventh dimensional dragon master of South Africa. Beg your pardon, of Africa. I don't know too much about Afra, as I said earlier, and I don't know what it's all, what Afra is about, because I've been trying to find out some information and I can't seem to get it. But this is an image that was done for me by an artist. And I'm just going to try and put that closer and a bit more. Hang on, let's just, who have we got? Who are we looking at? Can you see who we're looking at, Emma?
Yeah, it's the one you showed us earlier, yeah.
This is the dragon, right?
Yes.
Right. Now, this is a dragon. And I believe this is the... sorry, friends. What have we done? That's when you have too many things open, right? Can you see?
Yeah, he's still on there.
He's still on there. All right. Now I can't. I can't move my screen for whatever reason. Let's just do that. Oh, here we go. Here we go. That's fine. I just got something else popping up. Okay. So if you look at him, look at the background and look at what it looks like. It looks like a little bit like the savannah. Can you see any of that?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can see the savannah, right? But I believe that this is a new guide that's coming into to Africa. It's the dragon master, if I have to say it that way. All right. So maybe take a look at him. It was done by my daughter, who's an artist, and she had this download a few weeks ago that she had to paint me a dragon or draw me a dragon, and so that's what she's done. And we just need to say that, show that, and say that, yeah. So that's who we're leaving with, Africa at this point. That's who's coming in. Do you want to say anything about this dragon, the two of you?
He looks really powerful.
Yeah.
And he also looks like he's not going to take any BS.
He does, doesn't he? Yeah. And I know we're saying he, and we're talking about the divine masculine energy, but I'm hoping that he's got the energy of both, that he's a balanced dragon, that he has both. But you can see he's got that thing of, how when a woman says, I've had enough and no more nonsense, please, thank you very much. But he also seems to have the might of the masculine. Do you know, like the face is showing that, right? So very interesting. Yeah. Craig, do you want to say something about this dragon?
Well, interesting that it's come up with that blue color that we've spoken about.
I agree.
A number of times in the Arcturian connection. And the other interesting thing is you look at the bottom, and it could be a tail or whatever, but looking at it from face on to at the front of his nose, nose, and going up, that's almost like a stairway to heaven,
Yes.
Like we need to transcend and take one step at a time up that ladder, and that ladder's going up into the heavens. That's where we're heading to. And nothing can stop us getting there.
That's right.
The ladder's there. It's down onto the earth. It kind of goes down below the earth. And for me, I see that as what I refer to as a stairway to heaven, metaphorically, that we're on our way up into the heavens to create the change that's needed. So the blue and the white light, the dragon is blue and white. Yeah. And also that between its eyes.
I was going to say that about the eyes. Yeah, the third eye is pretty intense.
It's like a crystal. You spoke about the crystal in Africa. It's like it's like a really, I see it as a really powerful crystal, almost a seed. It's planting a crystal seed
Yeah.
that will grow like a tree grows. It's a crystal seed with a vibration. And I think Emma, you were saying 5 to 8 is the frequency of love or whatever. It's like that seed of love is going to be planted in Africa in the form of a crystal as such, and it will send out that vibration that will just grow and grow and grow and grow and just blossom
Yeah.
into this beautiful tree and head right up into the heavens.
Okay.
Beautiful, eh?
Very beautiful. I'm going to stop sharing screen, everybody. We will put a picture of this dragon on the community page for anybody that wanted to have a closer look at the dragon. Right, here we are. Well, anything to say before we go, friends?
Thank you, Rose.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thanks to both of you. You know, as you know, this just came along. You just phoned me, and I'm one of those yes guys. You know, as you know, Rose, you ask me anything, and I always just say yes. Like,
Yes, I'll
that
do
was
it.
easy, you know.
Yeah.
But I'll come back to you, whatever it's like. And I just know when I'm in the right place with the right people, and we're just so blessed to be connecting with each other, and everybody on this group. Just know that we are connecting with each other. We're all held unconditional love for each other. In our human third dimensional senses, we can be assholes sometimes, but in our hearts, we
Even
have
it
that
said the A word, but it's A's also
we
for
have that
Africa.
unconditional love for each other, for the planet, and for what needs to happen. And just call on that inner dragon within yourself and just be strong.
Yeah, yeah.
We've got this.
We've got this. And these, the messages that came through today, the energy, the light that's come through, the codes that have come through with the light, with the language and with the guides. Just remember that it is timeless. And so anytime you catch the video, you'll still be able to feel the energy of that. I mean, gosh, Africa's energy is pretty intense. I could feel that intensity of it today. So please remember to go outside and ground yourself, but also light a candle and just bring remembrance and just be in the zone. And remember that today we were the ones sitting here on the screen, but you were the ones on the ground. And Sonia was doing her thing in South Africa for this activation. And thank you, Sonia, if you're watching us so much. We will catch up with you anyway in the next day. But thank you, everybody, for watching. And thank you for just supporting our activations. Wherever you are in the world, you did your part for Africa and South Africa today. And do stay tuned into what's coming up, because there's another activation coming up pretty soon, and I will bring details through in the weeks to come. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. Love. Namaste.
Namaste.
Karamakata. Namaste.